ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Be So Brewed. We are a podcast here out of Dallas, Texas. We've got my co-host with me, Dr. B, that's wearing the G today.
I am wearing green today, but I am here.
That's like a first time?
It's probably not a first time.
Really?
I do wear other things other than maroon/burgundy. Yes, on occasion.
Yeah, blue. Like I've seen a lot of blue.
Yeah, blue's another
It's
one.
supposed to be colors that start with the letter B.
This
messed
is
up this
green.
Green. We've got a guest with us today. We've got Joe Mack from Joe Mack and Half of Nothing. You guys might remember.
Guys.
One of my favorite band names, by the
Right?
way, of everyone that we had on. I'm like, and Half of Nothing.
Yeah.
Half of Nothing is better than... Wait,
Still
something?
nothing.
Still
better
better
than
than having all of it.
Isn't that like a saying? It's like half of nothing is still better than something?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making stuff up.
So welcome.
Thanks.
You
Thanks for
guys
having me.
might remember Joe Mack and Half of Nothing from the first Support Local live stream concert. They were very generous and gracious to play for us and give us a little bit of a show. And then this Saturday, June 6th, up at Northside Draft House in Richardson, they're going to be our feature band. So we're going to have a little bit of live music and practice a little bit of
How about that?
social distancing somehow.
If you ever wanted to
No,
guarantee
we're not
your
distancing.
nightclub stay under 50% capacity, have an original act show up. I promise. People will stay the hell away.
Hoping
So are
that's
you
not the
saying
case.
that
So if
you're
you're
the-
watching this, bring your ass out on Saturday.
That's right. Yeah.
What he's saying
Saturday?
is he's the cure to social distancing.
That's right.
He's,
That's right.
He's the catalyst.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said that was Saturday, right? I'm just going to do like we did last week.
Saturday.
Saturday where?
June 6th, Northside Draft House, Richardson, Texas.
So
You pay
six-
for the whole
six,
seat,
six.
but you'll only need the edge.
Yeah, 6'6".
I was about to say, you got the whole
20.
thing. That's what we did last week. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. I mean, we'll see. There's half of nothing there. We can promise that.
Yeah. So there'll be plenty of room.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
perfect.
There's room. Yeah. Yeah, man. Half of Nothing is we're the little band that could. We got together, I guess, almost 2 years ago, and started booking gigs. And our guitar player was diagnosed with cancer and had to just shut down, go to chemo, fought through it, had every side effect that you're thinking of right now. Then we put it back together and launched and had a just incredible first show. Chloe was out there. We always appreciate him and Blue Circle hooking us up. I mean, 2 weeks after the first show, we cancel everything on the books because coronavirus happened. So if we could just get disease out of our way, you know.
We'll learn to live with it.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it's, we could say just that. It seems to be one thing after another thing after another thing, which I know you don't want to get into too much, but
It's not that I don't want to get into it.
I know as a white guy, you're worried about what to say.
It's not even what to say. Like I'm compassionate and I respect everything that's going on. I don't know that there's anything I can say that'll make it better, and I don't know that there's anything I can say. I know that anything I can say can potentially piss more people off. So
It's potential, but I think, again, this
It
is just the
is.
perspective of, my perspective is constantly changing and evolving on this as stuff is coming out, and, people are sharing more about why they're outraged and what is going on. And I think one of the things is it's very easy to take that stance. Again, I'm the same way of like, listen, I got your back, but I'm just going to stand here. And I feel like that silence isn't really getting us anywhere. And I feel like that's been one of the things that's been really spoke on, is a lot of people that are stepping out and saying, hey, I've seen content of, hey, as a black man, I've had a lot of people, white people, reaching out to me going, how do we support in this? What can we do? And they're saying that this is something that we're going to have to, I'm trying to even think of how they worded it, but like we're going to have to be a part of this approach in order to change these things and create the change that we want to see, because we can't just sit here and keep doing what we've been doing, because obviously it's not working and people are dying unfairly. And I didn't want to look up the statistics. I didn't even want to dive into this a lot, but I've just listened to some other podcasts and listened to people talk about things like the amount of people that have died in a situation like this, and there's outrage and people upset, and then the next thing you know, the next thing comes along and people get fired up about that and we get distracted. I feel like this is one of the first times where this is you know, a sobering time where we're a little bit more aware. Maybe it's because we've been locked up at home for months. Maybe it's the situation. I don't know. To me, for some reason, this feels different. And I think, unfortunately, there are a lot of people taking opportunity in this. You know, the opportunistic looters is kind of the term that I've heard thrown around, of the people that want change are protesting, and they're doing peaceful protesting. But then there's the situation of looters, people breaking into businesses and stealing stuff. And I just, you know, I try to see both angles of that. I get that people are upset. I get that people are angry. I feel like if I was coming from a place where I felt like I had been oppressed for many years and no one's really looking at this and nobody's doing anything to change it, I might look at that the same way, and I probably would be pissed too. But I just don't understand. And again, I constantly, over the COVID stuff, over all this stuff, I blame the media in a lot of these things, because while, yes, there's some violence and riots and all this stuff going on, especially in Dallas, we had businesses downtown. I know Deep Ellum was an area that a lot of people were talking about, storefronts broken into, busted. But there's also a lot of peaceful protests. There's a lot of people out there joining in these protests, military, police, like bringing these things together.
And I think
in situations.
Grand Rapids, Michigan was a great example where
but that stuff's not being
marched
reported
peacefully with the protesters.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you go off of what's been reported, you go off the media. You know, the people to blame are all of us, right? I mean,
It's
if the
true.
media's reporting it and we're believing it, we're just as bad as the people reporting it. You know,
Man,
I
you know-
mean, here's the reality, right? We saw a man murdered by a police officer live stream.
Yep.
And that's fucked up.
While other
Okay.
police officers watched.
And did nothing. And people try to get involved and they got pushed away. And there's no way to be dismissive of it. It's fucked up.
Uh-huh.
All right. I mean, and people have every right to be fucking angry of all walks of life. That's wrong. How everyone deals with that and internalizes it and expresses themselves and how they need to be heard, that's what we're seeing right now.
Uh-huh.
And there's no right or wrong. Like, I could see all the different sides of it. I was watching Trevor Noah the other day. He's a comedian, but
Yep.
he's an amazing intellect. I mean, he is one of the smartest people and some of the best
Well,
comedians.
he's kind of like Stephen Colbert. He has like a show, right? That's who you're talking about?
Yeah, The Daily Show.
Yep.
Trevor Noah.
Yep.
Right? And he was talking about it, and I encourage you all to go listen to him. It was about an 18-minute thing on Facebook, and it was really profound. Like, one of the things he discussed was, you know, society and our disappointment in society. But what is society? Was the question that he asked himself. And I'm like, man, that's a really good question. Like, what the fuck is society, right?
Yep. It's just a word a lot of times.
It's
that
not
we
even
can
a
throw
word.
around.
It's he described it as a social contract, right? Like, we've got a social contract with the others on what's right and what's wrong, and that we pay our taxes, and that we do these things.
Certain constructs that are set
But
up.
it's this invisible contract, right? And the way he explained it was, and I might be messing this up, so go check it out in case I do just totally loiter the crap out of this, because
This
I don't
is
wanna,
Don't Be So Brewed. They know that it's
I don't
want to
do it injustice, because it
Yeah.
really, for me, who's usually a conspiracy theorist now, or I call it logic, it made me think, and I was like, man, this is just a different way to look at this, right? And the way he said it's like, look, this is a social contract that everybody's supposed to follow, and that African American people have been getting the bad end of it, whether they choose to follow it or not. Those that even choose to follow are not getting the reciprocation from society on that contract. And he said something that was, again, quite profound. He's like, we get mad, or society gets mad, when people are looting a Target. Well, what keeps you from looting a Target on a daily basis?
Uh-huh.
Right? It's that social construct that tries to kind of
This is how we should behave. This
keep
is how we
everybody in
should
line.
act.
But it's like, well, why shouldn't we loot a Target, right? And I'm like, that's pretty profound, right? Because again, we got this thing in our head, like we've been taught to think that that's not the right way to do it.
We've
right?
been trained, you could say.
We've been
as if-
conditioned. We've been
yeah.
brainwashed, right? I mean, that's just the way it's always been. So I'm gonna step off that, because I don't want to ruin it. And I every single one of you that are watching, all two of you, go check it out.
Invite your two friends, and we can be up to 4. Thank you.
That's right. But I mean,
Just doubled the audience like
Yep.
that.
I know, like, it's
Name-
100% growth.
name
Like,
another show.
no time
It's
flat.
4 times half of nothing. So
That's, no, that's
No.
still nothing.
4 times 2.
shit. 4 times 0 is still 0. Shit.
4 times half of 0.
And I'm a doctor. Jeez, what is it? Math is not my strong
God,
suit,
you're not
though.
a math doctor. You need a math doctor. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing. There's a lot that we could do and that we could say. In my mind, our best angle of support is tell us what you need.
Yep.
And
like, tell me what to do. What are the appropriate steps? What's the appropriate action? Like, I think this has to be a collaboration. We're bringing this together because, again, everyone wants to say, I don't see color, which is total bullshit. Right. You can't not. It's an immediate thing. Whenever you look at someone, it's things that you take in immediately. We have to be able to go, I see whatever color that you see and know that you respect them as a human being. We're all human beings. We're all the same. You open us up, pretty much the same. All the stuff on the inside is the same. So we have to have some level of respect there for the fact that we have brothers and sisters of a different race that are hurting. Like, believe me, this conversation makes me so uncomfortable.
It's not just it's different races. This is widespread. This isn't targeted in any one area. And it's not something that any one person is going to fix. It's going to take a movement. I think it's got to be a little more peaceful. I don't think violence gets us anywhere, right? Two negatives don't ever equal a positive. But we've got to do some positive things. Like I wrote a whole article that I've opted not to publish because I had to just get this emotion and this feeling
out of your head,
out of my head, right? And I look at all the things that kind of divide us, right? Income levels, where you live, where you work, right? All these different things that cause divide, that get exploited on multiple levels. And then I look at other things like, and I've spoken about the Impala and Caprice Car Club that I participate in, and it's a very diverse, wide span of people. But when you start to look at the similarities, color differences, where you work, how much you make, it doesn't matter as much as what I define as a society or as a people or even as a species. Many of us have families. Do you care about your family?
Sure.
Is there any question that anybody out there doesn't care about their family? Maybe a small percentage, but not the majority.
Well, there may be members, this person or whatever, but for the most part, whoever's tight, your inner, it's like, that's your family.
Do you want to see your children grow up to be successful and survive in a world that's very complicated and challenging?
100%. And that's part of why I think this has to be addressed, because I sit there.
We come together over sports. Doesn't matter who you are, where you work. We could all go to a bar, all walks of life, and get together and rally behind a team.
A team, yep.
Right? We can believe in a faith, a religion.
Yep.
And while there might be conflict, between the religions per se, once you're within,
there can be a respect.
I don't consider myself a religious person, but those people that follow Jesus, there's people of all walks of life. Right? I mean, the message there is Jesus loves all, right? And everybody goes to church, and they might be segregated at wherever they go. It might be mixed. It might be blended. It might be, who the hell knows? But the message is the same, and the coalescing and the community is there, and it's built. And if we focus on the stuff that is that similar interest that we're passionate about, I think a lot of stuff works. And if you don't worry so much about the Joneses and who makes what, I mean, there's
it's comparison. What you're talking about is comparison of like, where do I compare to this person? I'm either better than them or not as good as them. And it's like this weird mindset of like, well, look at you. What do you drive? Where do you live? Do you have a hot wife? Do you have kids? Like, whatever it is, you look at all these things and it's like, well, I know what things I beat you in. Like, it's this weird, excuse my term here, dick measuring contest about weird things that we sit there and we go, oh, let me measure these things out versus like, for me and the group of people that I have around me right now, I just love to be around people that want to surround themselves with positivity. They want to help other people. They want to have fun while they're doing it, and they want to see other people win. Like, I don't want to be like, oh man, I'm successful and now all of you are below me. It's like, if one person can have success, why can't we build that up and have a team and help everyone have success with that? Whether it's within what I'm doing, or you having a band, or you in this business, or whatever it is. It's like, I know that's very pie in the sky.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
all
but-
just have fun. But
But in doing that, you're never going to be able to keep up, and you're going to run yourself ragged just trying to catch up to all that all the time. I mean, like I took Scott with me today to a good friend that Joe actually knows, Matt DeVance. I've watched him and DeVance.
Piece of shit. No, I'm kidding.
I've watched him.
I liked him.
Yeah,
He's cool, dude. I'm joking. I like Matt.
I've
Hi,
watched,
Matt. Hi, Dana, if you're watching.
I've watched them come
Stupid
up.
big
Like
dogs.
I've watched Matt go from doing like car installations to now having a multi-million-dollar company.
And he
about to buy-
literally lived right here behind the Shell station.
That's what
Yeah,
he was telling
that's
me.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Said
And
he's
like-
like, I used to live in those apartments. I'm like,
and
right on.
literally about to buy this multi-million-dollar, warehouse. And he's like one of the presidents of the Ferrari Club, and he's got this beautiful house. And I don't sit there and go, God, I wish I had all that. I'm like, dude, congratulations, man. That's awesome. I mean, you've worked hard for it.
yeah,
Well, we go through these periods too of this correction, these social corrections, and they're generational, and we relax and we take our eye off of where we're trying to get. So you have, I think we can all categorically say slavery was a bad thing, and then
I hope so.
Yeah.
If not, you can stop listening
Right.
to this. and leave.
Right.
It doesn't
we
even
don't
have to
want
be
you here.
categorically. We could
And
Yeah.
just
right. So
say
then,
it was bad,
so
yeah.
slavery's abolished.
If you don't
and
buy.
you go through the Jim Crow era, and you sort of have this. It normalizes a little bit, right? And then you get this next generation that speaks up and says, "Hey, this isn't this isn't all or nothing. This is kind of an and some. We're still not getting our fair shake."
Yeah, it's still like,
Right, and-
sure, but not really.
Yeah, and then you have, but like you were saying, there are all these things where you come together. If you look at the jazz clubs of the 20s, sports, but it still wasn't the same. Killer Mike, I don't know if you guys have seen his.
Yeah, I've been watching him, what he's been
He
doing.
went off about the original first 8 black cops in Atlanta had to get dressed at the Y because the white cops didn't want to get dressed with them. So, yeah, you can have the job, and yeah, you can play in our sandbox, but and then I mean, I'm in my 40s. I grew up in the Cosby generation, right? I mean, I saw a lawyer and a OBGYN raise kids that went through the same problems that Chloe and I are going through, And then all of a sudden there's this unrest, and now we are the generation that took our eye off of it. We're all going, whoa, what the hell's the problem? I thought we were all getting along, weren't we?
Yep.
And then like you said, all the systemic stuff starts bubbling to the top. And man, to some degree, you got to attribute social media to this because
more people have that platform.
right, yeah, and it's not just the 3 networks, spitting the same story. It's harder to control, to some degree, if you're going to effectively govern pedantically, I guess you have to control the information that's coming out, and
You're using really big words here.
Yeah.
You just lost like half the room at least.
shit, that's one person though.
Hey, are we
okay,
podcasting?
we're good.
Are we podcasting tonight?
Yeah, I'm like, damn.
But yeah, man, they're
I'm gonna
you
look that shit up pedantically. What the fuck is pedantically mean? Just so I know.
I knew.
If you're
I had
just
to say it
if you're
because I
just
knew
gonna-
Scott was sitting there
you're
going,
just gonna
"What
be an
the
asshole.
fuck is
You're
that?"
gonna be an asshole, and
Anyone who's
and get away
watching,
with it.
anyone who's watching knows the smile and nod when you're like, that guy just used a really big ass word, and I have no idea what it
Thank God
means.
Zumi
Yeah.
asked what the hell
Yeah.
pedantically meant.
Don't worry.
Don't leave. You don't gotta
I'm
go to
playing. I'm
dictionary.com.
playing one of those games with my buddies that are listening. They'll give me a list of words. I got to try to.
Oh,
sneak
we've
in.
done that
We've played
before.
that game.
We've played that game where we snuck it into an episode, and then we were like, "Hey, we dropped these in. You got to figure out where they were."
And nobody's ever
which is
won.
basically impossible.
How are you enjoying your cum shot beer?
I hear it goes down smooth.
Falafel. Are good. Oh, we weren't talking about that? I forget. We got to go back and look at that.
Episode 2 or 3. I don't know if you remember. I was talking about the softening of society.
Uh-huh.
We had a couple of teachers on, right? We had James on. and
that's
whatnot.
actually our second most popular episode.
Is it really?
Yes.
Damn
so
it.
the first episode is over 100 downloads, and that one is over 100 downloads. And I'm like, what the hell did
You know
that guy
what?
do? And he's awesome.
You're welcome.
Dude,
He's
when
fantastic.
we
We should
got to
bring
go
him
do
back
that thing at his school,
Oh my
that was
God,
a
isn't that
blast.
amazing?
Yes. So you got to tell him about
I
it.
will, and we'll get you guys involved. I think you guys would like it too. But on that episode, I had talked about just kind of the softening of society, and if you look at teachers 30 years ago versus teachers now, and what they're allowed to do as far as disciplining a child and
Sure.
everything. I mean, things have changed like dramatically, and I mean, just like everybody else, I've been watching everything that's been happening the last bunch of days, and that's funny as shit. Thanks, Chris. Is it spelled properly?
Pedantic Alley.
Hang on, let me get my positioning straight.
I love that we can do this. It cracks me up.
So,
For those of you who aren't watching, what does pedantically mean? It's scrolling on the bottom of our screen right now.
The reason it didn't pop up immediately is because that's how long it took Chloe to look up how to spell it.
that's exactly
I
right.
tried to spell it like 4 times, and Google said, "Did you mean?
Dance.
Did you mean
Well,
this?"
well, he put it in Word and initially drew a squiggle, and it's like,
Right.
"Oh, wait a second, and it just went normal. It's like,
Listen,
okay, I got it.
Google is so nice. It's like, "Hey, did you mean this?" Yes,
So
Google,
if,
I did.
if
Thank
over
you.
the
Thank you,
last
Google.
30 years, teachers kind of lost their ability to be strict, per se, right?
Mhm.
Maybe a little aggressive. Maybe they were aggressive at times. And this is a question for both of you. Do you think that the police are going through that right now?
Yeah.
They
for sure.
can't enforce the way they used to because some of it might not have been ethically correct. Some of it,
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's different.
I
No.
think
Law
there's a little
enforcement-
bit of a level of that, but I think there's also a level of it's not governed the way that it should be because there's too much red tape if you have to do it. So somebody who has issues, like I saw a clip from Chris Rock when he was doing stand-up and he was talking about this situation. I don't know if it was recent or what it was. It was probably from a past situation when this happened before. And he was talking about, listen, there are certain jobs. He was like, a lot of people talk about
You
the
know,
murder.
a lot of people talk about. You got to do
The
it in a Chris Rock
murder.
voice.
The
I don't know
murder,
how long
I
we're allowed to
can't.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's Chris Rock. He's funny as
But
shit.
he talks about when people talk about the murder of an innocent person by a cop, he's like, well, there's a few bad apples. And he's like, it almost makes it sound like it's okay or it's a good thing. Like, there's a few bad cops in there, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad. And it's like, that's true. But he gave the example, there are just certain jobs that you can't have bad apples. He said, pilots. Oh, for the most part, they're all pretty good. The majority of them, they like to land. But, we've got those couple. It's like, that doesn't work. And so I feel like, again, this was that situation with that podcast I told you about that doctor that was a neurosurgeon that was going around killing people. He, maimed and injured and killed, 27 people.
It was a local doctor.
Yeah, it was a local doctor here in Dallas. So if you guys want to look it up, it's a podcast by Wondery. It's called Dr. Death. It's about a guy that was here local. And basically it was all based off of his mentality was always, I'm going to keep working at something until I get it down. And they're like, even if he was terrible at something, he would do that. And he had no clue what he was doing. It came out that when you're doing your rounds as a doctor before you're actually out and doing everything, doctors on average for most will do 2,500 to 3,000 surgeries before they really get into this. He had done less than 100 or something like that total because he had been more on the research side. Well, a neurosurgeon to a hospital is big money. You got a neurosurgeon, they're like, we're good to go. Insurance, we can rake in the money. So they want to bring people like this in. Well, he would come in, be like, he was they said he was very good with people, very good salesperson. He could talk people into stuff. He was just very good of people would share their experience, and then he made me feel like he was going to be able to actually help me and get me out of pain.
He probably believed he could.
And he probably believed that he could. And then the doctors and nurses would go in to check on the work that he did, and they're like, dude, this anchor is supposed to be in the vertebra of the spine, and you put it in the psoas muscle, which is a muscle that sits around they're sitting over
Pedantic.
Yes.
here. No, everybody knows what a psoas or a hip flexor is. Pedantic,
I know.
that's way different.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Listen, I didn't talk about a pedicle
I got a
screw.
psoas right now.
Yeah,
Leg day.
a psoas.
When Jimmy starts throwing the big words, better watch out, people.
Basically, he was anchoring things to where they weren't supposed to go. He would go in and literally cut entire nerves. So he would just literally slash the entire nerve. They would go back into what he did, and they're like, he obliterated 4 nerves on the right side of here. The people would wake up in horrible pain. I can't feel my leg. Something's wrong. What the hell happened here? The first person he ever performed surgery on was a friend of his, and he basically removed his head from his neck. He had to use this surgical glue essentially, and they're basically his head was no longer attached. He was having some neck issues, went in and did this surgery that he thought he could do, and put his friend in a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
I swear to God, if I was a surgeon and Chloe that's what would happen. You can come into my house and see any number of just half-ass or half-finished projects where I was like, I don't know. I just gave up. Chloe will be like, who hung these closet doors? Well, I did. That one doesn't open, and that one's just propped up. There's
I know about doors.
Yeah, there's nothing in that
We put
closet.
this door up here originally, and then we had guys fix it. So, yeah I know about
Like,
doors.
we'll just take care of that. And I kind of looked at these two, and I was like...
And it's one of those things. But again, the stuff that you're talking about doesn't harm people. This is what was physically... And what would happen was, when that stuff happens, someone has to turn him in. But doctors have malpractice insurance and things to protect them because, listen, sometimes things happen. People die by accident. They were trying their best.
So what happened to this guy?
They took him to court, but they had to... Doctors were nervous because they set this precedent of, like, most doctors are safe. Unfortunately, people don't want to hear that, but you kill someone, you're probably safe because you have malpractice and stuff that protects you, and that's going to pay that out to that family. But this guy was purposely doing it. He had a known history of drugs and alcohol. Like, there was a lot of issues going on with this guy and a lot of red flags. And all the hospitals would just sever ties with him. And another hospital would go, oh, we got this doc available. And they would hire him. And no one was going through the paperwork and the red tape in order to do what was right and go, we got to turn this guy in. And so it took the doctors that were watching this guy. And they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And he's going to kill someone. Come to find out he already had. And they're like, we got to do something. So they worked adamantly, and these lawyers and everybody, they had to figure out the way that they were going to approach this because, again, medical doctors are mostly protected. And so to get back to the point that we way rabbit trailed off of was,
About 30 minutes ago?
I think police officers, there's a little bit of the same thing. I don't know if it's true. I heard allegedly this guy that killed George Floyd, I heard that he murdered him. I heard that he had like 15 or something complaints on him before already with other issues. It's like, if that shit's happening, you've got to do something. You can't just be like, oh, well, it's okay. You know, he had a rough day or whatever. Like, that's bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse. It's someone that we trust to protect and keep us safe. And I know people in law enforcement. I respect them 100%. But you've got to hold these other people accountable. You've got to do better. When you hear shit like this, like, you've got to know that there's a problem going on. And there's got to be something done, because when shit like this happens, it creates a storm. And then now, hopefully this drives us together, because like you even mentioned earlier, there are things that bring us together. Unfortunately, tragedy can bring us together sometimes too. When 9/11 happened, that really brought a lot of people together.
Tragedy can as well.
It's not the most...
But look at all the stuff they don't want to let us do now. We can't have concerts. We can't do a lot of the things.
But we're having one Saturday, just so you know.
That's right.
What did Derek say the best about 9/11?
Yeah. That I actually said it on the when we did the Support Local Texas. One of the things I said, we have a buddy of ours who owns a record label in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that what we do best as a country is we come together. And 9/11, my personal story on 9/11 is I remember that happening on a Tuesday morning. I had a brand new baby boy, and my ex-wife and I used to comment when we found out it was a boy. We'd heard just in passing somewhere, the worst time to have a son is 18 years before a major war, right? And here we are holding our baby, watching these buildings fall, and the Giants had a home game in New York, and they decided to play. And they did. And by the way, that was the game where they started broadcasting the national anthem. National anthem was not broadcast live on games. Yep. If you remember Cowboy games, they'd go to commercial and they'd come back. You could still see the balloons coming up out of the box. Anyway, they had it on. They started the USA chant. They went to commercial. They came back. And Summerall couldn't talk, and not because he was choked up, but just because it was so damn loud.
It was so loud
right?
in there because people were still chanting
and
USA.
Man, and that's us, right? That's who we are. We come together. Man, we had concerts and prayer vigils and memorials, and a great commercial that ran during that time. I still get choked up about it. State Farm ran a commercial that was just this shot down, generic boulevard in Anytown, USA, right? And the crawl came up and it said, on 9/11, the terrorists wanted to change America. And then it went dark, and it came back up to the same street, and every fucking house had an American flag out front. And it said, congratulations, you did. Right? We just pulled together. And what COVID did that scares the shit out of all of us is and this is what Derek said so well, it forced us to isolate. Go be by yourself. Don't go be around people.
We're not built for it.
Yeah, and I haven't hugged my mother in 8 weeks, And that's been, that's not who we are. It's bananas, like you were saying. And
Sorry to mention this, but I hugged your mom at Walmart. So
She had to go to the hospital.
couple weeks ago.
Good job, Cloe.
A couple of weeks ago, she had to go to the hospital. She's recovering fine.
Was that like
That's not a joke. Seriously, she
was
really
that like a weird your mom joke? Like, is that one of those things?
No,
Like, oh
I-
yeah, bro, with your
Don't-
mom.
Don't
I
get
was
us started
hugging your
on your
mom.
mom jokes with Chloe's mom growing up.
Seriously, don't. But no, I ran into his mom.
I was about to
at
say, I grew up
Walmart.
with guys. I know how that goes.
Okay,
You always,
Chloe-
your mom.
So Chris's mom was a model,
Ooh.
and so growing up,
What
there
happened?
Were all,
Pictures? Pictures? We got anything? No? Oh, okay.
I could throw something up.
No, here we go.
I could throw
do
something
me a favor.
up.
Keep it clean,
Oh,
okay?
it's clean.
All right.
I don't want.
What is he going to show of his mom?
I don't want the November
That's not
77.
clean.
What's he
cover
got on
photo.
there? Now, if you just ignore, that's me, but
Yeah.
you can see her tits in this.
Wow. Okay, so sort of back to the point. I mean, I think when you're talking about those things, unfortunately, when tragedy occurs, I think it's very good at removing all the bullshit. There's a lot of things that we make up as excuses and things. All right. I mean, I can only kind of see that, but
Can we?
That was a Halloween where she went as Big Bird.
I know. I'm like, I see some feathers there.
I mean, the audience needs to see Chris.
But I feel like it's one of those things that it removes all the bullshit very quickly, and it allows you. All right, she's bedazzled.
Mm-hmm.
That's her now with my brother and sister.
Dude, I didn't know your brother was the lead singer of Creed.
That's her with my brother.
Holy shit! I thought that was George.
Right? Now, mind you, that's me the day I was born.
Look at what he's looking at too. I'm hungry. and you playing with
What
your-
kind of beats you
I was
playing
gonna
with
say,
there?
yeah. Don't touch those.
Still have them to this day.
Those are daddies.
Most people aren't gonna get that. Scott got it.
Oh,
though.
I got it.
He's got a set. And you can get a set too today at Etches.
We'll even personalize them for,
Yeah,
you,
we'll put your face on them.
for your pleasure.
Now that's like a major callback to
Yeah,
earlier.
there
That's
we go.
fantastic. Okay, sorry. We can totally get off this subject now. Let's Joe. Let's talk about like what got you into music. Like when did all that start? When did your love
man.
for?
I always my mom and my grandmother were I guess like everybody.
Was your
active.
mom a model?
She was not.
Okay,
She was not.
just asking.
She
I
was
get-
beautiful. She was
yeah.
very pretty.
But she
Yeah,
did have
yeah.
some glamour shots done. So I mean,
Oh, hell
all
yeah.
moms had those.
Hell yeah!
I
With the
mean,
popped collar.
Oh yeah. My mom had some bomb glamour shots. You're like, yeah, mom, work it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Chloe's still hugging on her, so you know.
Yeah, that's right.
right.
That's right. So
You're
yeah,
not, but he is. I mean,
haven't met her yet.
cool man.
she'll be around. She had hernia surgery because Chloe hugged her.
Damn, man, you don't have to squeeze so hard.
The toothpaste.
Mom was a
just-
model. Dad was Bigfoot. Haven't seen Dad in a while. You know.
So yeah. No, my I was in a house where people sang all the time, and that's what I did. And I was really fortunate to meet some great musicians when I was younger, and we had the opportunity to go overseas and tour. And we had our manager was a guy who was managing like White Snake and
Sting.
What?
Well, it was
Damn.
Sting's we had the same producer as Sting. Damn. But man, so we made this record literally like the day after Napster happened. So we're sitting down in these meetings. Yeah, we're sitting down in these meetings with like Andy.
shit.
Let's see, Andy Oliphant, Timothy Oliphant's brother, is the VP of A&R for B&G Sony, and our manager sitting down at a meeting with him. He's like, "Dude, we have no idea. We don't know what, go on tour." And he's like, "Well, we need money." And he's like, "Well, good luck, And
Right.
so it was frustrating to get right there. I mean, literally, we're hanging out in the lounge at our hotel in.
I'm sorry. Can you
London.
start over? I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything since Napster. I was just like, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, taking a nap.
It's like no, I was just like, I haven't heard Napster in forever.
Yeah.
Like, golly, right?
But we're watching, guys that are kind of our contemporaries are kind of breaking. This was in the Nickelback and those guys, kind of that coming through, and they had just beaten it, and we were just behind it. So I didn't play for a long time. It fucked me up. The business side of it. Plus,
Yeah,
and
because you cared about it, but then it was like, man, that was kind of a shit situation.
Right, to get right there. And I had a young son at home and a wife, and to think that you're set. I mean, we're talking with the big boys, and we got all the right management and the right producers and the right support. and then it just goes away.
It's like the movie Rockstar. It's my
Right.
favorite movie.
It really, yeah, seriously. Except I didn't get to wander
Right.
off.
I was
by
about to say you
myself.
didn't get to
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
off on your own. You've
Yeah,
never
just-
seen that, have you?
Just post grunge era me.
So Marky Mark goes in and basically gets to replace the lead singer because he's in a band that impersonates this famous band, and the lead singer basically is like, I'm tired of touring, I'm over this, and just like walks away, and they're like on tour, they're like in the
isn't he
middle
also
of a tour.
covering up the fact that he's gay, like he's hiding it. Or
the actual singer.
actual
So
singer,
the story is Chris Ripper Jones. That's the real guy,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how he wound up in Judas Priest. So the movie is sort of a farce or
But
whatever.
basically it's like an 80s hair metal band, and Mark Wahlberg's got the pipes to be able to sing like this guy because he's in a cover band of this band, and they meet him and they're like, well, we sort of need someone to take this place because he's left, and it's like this whole it's a fantastic movie. It's a
It
cool
really
story.
is. I didn't want to watch it. I thght it was really good though.
Yeah, I was the same way when
Yeah.
I was like, you've never seen this? And so we
Yeah.
watch it because I'm obsessed with 80s hair metal bands. Love it. So
right.
what?
Chloe and I went to every
Motley Crue.
concert that came through.
Motley Crue, Rat, Brittany Fox,
Kicks, Warrant, Poison.
Warrant,
Yeah.
Poison.
So we're at.
It's
we're-
okay.
Guns
I've
N'
probably been to
Roses.
more Winger concerts than both of you combined, so it's fine.
You probably have.
We were. We didn't do.
You can hate. It's fine.
we
They're
did the
good.
girl
They're
ones.
good. Oh yeah, Red Beach is terrible. He sucks so much ass at playing guitar.
We went to
Kip Winger with his perfect teeth. He's such a douche.
and the beard, the
Right.
the man beard.
With the that's the
Like the perfect chest
the George
hair.
Michaels.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
tightest pants ever with a
Yeah.
shirt that's like basically
His
barely a
his-
shirt. It's like
his
a
chest hair
rag.
is just an
Yep.
arrow.
That points down to it like, hey ladies, it's just a suggestion.
Chloe was. Anytime I went anywhere with Chloe in high school, I was already a douchebag. But if I was
Weren't we all?
If I was with Chloe, I was like the
Extra douchey.
I was the put a shoulder into you, and I'd be like, "What are you gonna say?" You know. We're at this concert,
Yeah.
and everybody around us is getting shit hammered drunk, and they were drinking straight alcohol, like grain alcohol, right? They were mixing it with their drinks. And this one guy was already kind of off
High
kilter.
school.
Like I'm not gonna say he was mentally challenged, but he was off.
So
was
he had
off.
had a little too much grain
And they
alcohol. Got it.
Well, not pre-alcohol, right?
He's saying
But-
his mom drank a lot of grain alcohol while he was, she was pregnant.
Right. But once he got drunk, it
Potentially.
was really bad. And so they had back in the day we had the wax paper cups, the paper
Yeah,
cups
yeah, I
covered in wax.
remember it.
So he fills it with alcohol, hits it with the lighter, boom, he's got a torch, right? But he's drunk
And you're sitting there like, man,
Fantastic.
and
All
he's sloshing
And
it
Joe's like,
around.
I sure wish I'd make fun of that dude.
It spills all over him, and literally he ignites.
I was
No
gonna say, lights him on fire.
no idea. He's still yelling, and so Chloe just kind of gives him the, "Hey man,
You're on
you
fire.
are on fire."
And he's like,
I can see
yeah,
him
man.
saying that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I am.
Hey,
like,
dude, I
no,
think you're on
dude,
fire.
you're on fire.
We get Chloe to do horrible. At a Motley Crue concert, the girls wearing all the ripped up jeans, and this girl had just tears like right where her butt met her legs, And
What a fortunate spot to
yeah,
be.
so I'm standing back and I was like,
Hey, hang on. Teresa just gone.
yeah. So I'm standing there. I was like,
At
Ladies,
this point, the show is
bye.
over for you.
Yep.
Thank you for joining. We appreciate
Ladies, you're
you.
out of here.
yeah, and
Fellas,
to our
listen,
sponsors.
please remember this is before Me Too. We didn't know that we were breaking the rules. But I was like, I bet you can't get your hand inside those jeans. And Chloe's like, "Pfft, I can.
which is, I mean, if you're that person, that was me. Never challenge me
Yeah.
or say that I bet you can't do this
Right.
because I'm going to end up doing it and I'll
Right.
probably get myself in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
I bet you won't strip down right now. Bet I will. Hold my clothes, which was also a horrible decision.
Yeah, he could get his hands in there. It was crazy. I think
Really, those meat mitts,
I-
you got those things in there?
I think they wound up dating for a while.
Jeez, I'm gonna hide.
So did you just go for it or did you like work your way into
He
it?
he worked his way.
his now, mind you, her boyfriend was standing right next to her with his
Yeah,
arm
buddy.
around her.
I like it even more.
And I just like, well, not only that, but the one thing he also forgot to mention. Sorry, we're going back to the guy with the thing on fire. I literally looked back.
This was all the same
and-
night.
No,
no.
one was Rat.
One
One
I was
was
gonna say,
Rat,
hey,
one
that
was
dude's on
Motley Crue.
fire.
yeah.
Fantastic concerts, both of them.
Look. Joe is literally standing right here, and I go, look out, and I push him. He goes, what? And this guy, literally the guy that lit himself on fire, just over like 3 rows.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yikes.
So you didn't tell us about the time Chris saved your life.
Oh, dude, too many.
I was about to say, I'm sure there's plenty of stories.
The best is bottle.
Dude, we're trying to get out of a strip club, and the fight's happening, and Cloe, he's always so much more aware than I am, right? And so, because I've got Cloe, I don't have to be aware.
Yep.
And so we're trying
Cloe,
to get.
we're going to relate way more after this. I'm totally you to my friend group.
there's-
I'm always aware of shit that's going on around me.
And there's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon style fight between these two gangs that break out at this strip club. And literally, it's just like dust, and every now and then a hand pops out, like a
Right.
bat, and
Yep.
stars,
And a stool.
right,
And then
yeah. And so it's moving our way.
But
and
did
so,
you see a BAM stick?
yeah. And so Chloe's like, knock those bottles off that table. And I was like, what? And before I could even say what, whack, the dude breaks the bottle, and here he comes right at it, and Chloe's like, does one of those Steven Seagal, catches the arm.
Yeah,
has,
bruh.
Has me with the other hand, just throws me out the door into the parking lot, and then he comes out behind me, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? So, and also, where's our other friend?
Oh, shit.
Underneath the table, just crying.
Where's Evan?
Steven Seagal, man. What happened to Steven Seagal? Like I've seen a couple
Cop,
things.
man.
He still kicks people's
Cop, and
ass.
he's
Are you
doing
kidding me?
some like Aikido or something like that, or jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've seen some videos.
Yeah, he's got his own form of martial arts.
Well, he's Aikido. He was.
Yeah.
he
It's
was-
Aikido, right?
He was one of the first.
He was the only white,
only
right?
American white,
Master. Yeah.
American master allowed out of a Japanese school to teach and perform Aikido.
Now he did marry into the family and abandon that woman, but
Yeah.
What an
Still-
a-hole.
still.
What an a-hole.
still he was.
Yeah, who's gonna argue with Steven
Right.
Seagal?
Right.
Do the arm thing.
He's a badass.
Okay, so back to the girl in jeans story, because she was with her man, and then you didn't finish that. You talked about drunk guy, so we
Yeah.
got to go back to this.
And
If
if
it
you-
doesn't have an
Hey,
awesome.
and if
It
while you're
doesn't
telling
matter,
that, you want to
that
bring
was-
up some
that was
Steven
literally
Seagal
it, yeah.
movie stuff.
I'm like, so
that'd
basically,
be cool.
this girl's like got her, I've seen this situation. Boyfriend's arms are under, he's
just
drunk,
get-
he's not paying attention, and she's making out with some other guy that's got his hand in
we
her
did
pants.
not make out. It was just
Till later.
hand in the pants, like challenge.
Yeah, you make it sound so
accepted,
much
done.
better. We didn't make out. I just put my hand in
like-
her pants.
That's
Right.
like, oh,
You got to skip all that bullshit.
no, that's like,
We got to skip all that other. I
that's
ain't
like,
a bitch.
oh, I'm sorry, you're not my girlfriend.
Oh, my bad. I was just looking for my keychain.
So how did that go? I mean, what ultimately, what happened?
All I remember is that we were right on the rail. This was at Reunion Arena when it was still here, and it was right on the rail, and it happened right as Tommy Lee came out, like stories above everybody on his drum kit. and
Hell
started
yeah. Spinning around.
right
Yep.
in front of us, and we're just like this, and I think everyone was so into it, and I just remember, I was like, here's my opportunity, and we just kind of had that look at each other, and she was like, and I was like, oh, this is cool. How old was I? I was,
17, yeah.
if that.
We were driving.
How
we
long?
drove to
How long were you down there?
You were driving.
Down there.
How long were you down there? Was it like a couple of seconds, or did it get to that awkward like?
See, my approach is I would have told her there was a bumblebee on there, and I was just trying to get it off, and then I lingered. That's my bad. I couldn't help it.
My bad. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. I saw a bug on there. I didn't want it to get you.
Let it linger. Come here and smell Chloe's fingers.
Joe, you're my best friend. I do this. This is how I do songs all the time. I'm going to have to show this to my wife. I'm going to show her this episode because I do this all the time. She's like, how do you do this? I'm like, well, here's the problem. My brain remembers every lyric to every song I've ever heard ever. And then what I can do is I can take that and I can make up my own lyrics, and it's how my brain works.
Right.
And it's quite fantastical. And she's like, how do you come up with this? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't come up with it. It's,
It
if I
just-
don't
yep, it's
organize
just
it
me.
this way, I'll go crazy.
Yep.
Right? So I'm always just repiecing.
If I
the
could remember
puzzle.
that word from earlier, I would say it again. What was it?
Pedantically.
Pedantically.
Yeah.
We could
Joe-
say you're very pedantical about it.
Listen,
remember Joe-
Cloe pedantically, romantically put his hand and created.
Write down her pedantically.
Yep.
Yep.
Pedantically.
Yeah.
Joe and I, we've been friends for 34 years or something like that. We were in choir together, and every band...
You've been friends longer than he's been alive.
Yes.
And he's a doctor. I still haven't done anything. Fuck it.
I play guitar.
He's like, I just had a really weird realization. F this. I'm.
But no, every band he's been in, I've helped him, move gear, load in, been bouncer, fan, whatever, and like they have
Grabbed
literally
girls' asses.
always,
Yeah.
they've
Mm-hmm.
always made up songs, and some of them are absolutely hysterical. I mean, it was always a lot of fun.
Yep. Did you guys drink a lot of Tang back in the day?
That's a rumor.
Okay.
Dude.
I just heard it's good for the vocal
It
cords.
wasn't
So
you grew up in Texas,
Yeah.
right? I grew up in New York, and
Get a rope. Nonsense.
No, like
back in the day.
did you
Get a
guys
rope.
get like the sugar waters down here, where it was in the little plastic barrel looking thing?
No,
There were
man,
different
Hey,
colors.
Scott,
and
they
had
called
the
them
little,
Coke here. It's Coke,
No,
Dr.
no.
Pepper.
I know. I'm like,
Everything,
Sugar
everything
water?
here is called Coke. I
That's
mean,
right.
I get it.
are you
I
talking about the
understand.
little barrels that you peeled the
They
foil
peeled the
off
little
of?
foil
Yes.
cap off of? They were like blue and like, it was green drink.
It's not
orange
sugar
drink.
water. It was basically
was sugar
It
water
was basically
with food
Kool-Aids,
coloring.
but they were
Right.
terrible.
Okay,
They tasted
I kind of remember this.
Yeah, they
And
had-
didn't they have them at Six Flags for a while? But
Probably.
They, were, like, shaped
They
like
had weird-ass
fruits and
taste.
shit, Yeah.
And then
I
later,
just didn't know if that was,
Kool-Aid
like,
came
a
out with the
thing down
ones that
here.
twisted the top twisted
This was
off.
like
Yeah.
pre-Snapple. Like when Snapple came out, this stuff kind of went away.
Do you remember how worthless
No,
Capri
Kool-Aid
Sun
wiped
was?
that out.
It still is.
Capri Sun. It's like, so first of all, the glue
Bro,
they used
hell
to
no.
hold
Capri
the,
Sun is the shit.
the glue they used to hold that fucking straw on was too hard. The straw was too brittle. You yank it, you break the straw.
No,
and
the straw
never
wouldn't
worked
break.
for the
It was
hole.
the top was indestructible,
Yeah,
and
right.
unless you hit the one
Yeah.
tiny portion, you're
Yeah.
like, you ain't getting in there,
It's
bro.
like blowing up the fucking Death Star. You got to hit that one spot.
You
and
wanna
it's-
know what
it
the
has to be
secret
exact-
actually
Oh,
is?
Wasn't it you though that showed me if you just turn it over the
Yes.
whole bottom and you just pop
I was
it
about
in
to
the
say.
bottom and it's,
That's what I was about to tell you. The secret is you do it to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. You
Honey.
flip it over, boom, hit the bottom. It's good to go.
Honey,
Got to do it in the bottom.
that's right. Flip
Listen,
it over.
this
do it at the
episode has
bottom.
been all about ass for the second half. We're just talking about flip it over, put it in the bottom.
we should
Do
just
not
we
do
should
not
make
take
this-
that out of context.
Yeah, we can make this 2 episodes. We'll do another intro real quick. Producer Jeff will go in and fix everything up, make it look like it never happened.
I'm so glad we got the serious stuff out. If people are still watching, they're like, "What the shit just happened?" And
I
this is
called
why
my
we're the
kids in to hear
Seinfeld.
about this, and now
Yeah.
we're talking about finger banging buttholes. What's going on?
Honey, I feel like we really solved this issue. We really got
Thanks for
into
putting
this,
some
and then
color
later,
around it.
yeah.
That definitely defines.
We're not
exactly
going to turn
what
it
we-
off, but get the kids out of the room.
Did you really have to say "smell close finger"? That's so inappropriate. God, that was my wife the other night. We were talking about podcasts, and I was just like, "I'm so glad you don't listen to this." And she's like, "Yeah, I don't because I'm so nervous about
If
ever."
she is, there's no more ripped jeans in the house, and she won't be wearing the ripped jeans on Saturday.
Well, I was just hoping those would come back around. I mean, I'm like, come on.
Acid washed, ripped
Oh,
jeans.
Joe and our favorite thing from the 80s and early 90s, units.
Oh, dude.
You
It was like
Greatest
taking your girlfriend's clothes off was like Christmas. You just yank it and they start spinning around and there's shit
units.
flying off.
Okay, imagine like a
Unit
halter
sounds
top.
like some man's junk, so I was confused there
No,
for a second. We're
so-
like, we love to look at guys' units.
So imagine like a halter top,
Pedantically.
right?
And shake them around.
But a halter top could be pulled down to make a dress, or
Uh-huh.
it could be pulled all the way up to make like a full dress.
You're talking about our
cover.
tube top.
Yeah. So like it was just like a piece of material, and that was it. That went up, down.
Yeah, it's like
around.
learning when skirts are amazing.
But they
you
would
just-
like twist them around and like make different. So it really was. You had to be kind of an engineer.
I didn't know they had a name.
Yeah.
Remember those fat ones? The ones like not long ago. They were all one piece.
The bodysuits.
Yeah.
First of all, that was disgusting. And any
Yes.
guy listening to this that doesn't admit that you just ignored the yellow stain down by the buttons, you're full of shit. Because you all know that girls couldn't keep those fucking things clean. I don't know how a thong works. If you put anything remotely close.
What do you mean you don't know how it works?
Okay,
I'm pretty sure they all work the same.
My wife can take off a white
Boss.
thong and lay it in the floor, and it's still a white thong. If you put me in a white thong all day long, and I took it off at night, you would want to burn that fucking science experiment right there. If you could catch it before it crawled out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they work. It's magic.
I mean,
Is that
sort
it? Did I
of.
bring it down?
I'm really hoping though that most women don't have hairy buttholes like men do.
Is that what it is? Is it the hair? Because I'll get rid
I-
of it. I'll kill it right now.
And this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Not really, but if they want to sponsor us, we'd love it.
Dude wipes.
Hey, what other podcast is talking about hairy buttholes tonight? I mean, come on, you know.
Joe Rogan says actually
We've got
that was
problems.
that was a
You've
clip.
got solutions.
That was
it's
a
match.
clip that Manscaped took because he was like talking about trimming, and he goes, "Yeah," and I just go, and the guy was like, "You take it back there," and he's like, "How do you know you're getting it?" And he's like, "I don't. I just kind of guess." It's like I have no clue. Listen, even trying to get Scott to just wipe his ass with wet wipes was a stretch. So if you want some help,
right.
you know, going, wet to dry is a stretch enough for him. So getting him to clean that thing up,
No, going
basically
dry
impossible.
to wet.
What's the step?
No,
what's the
it's-
step after the bidet? Do you go bidet and then to paper, or do you just get up wet?
No, you got to use toilet paper.
Something,
You got to
right?
dry that
it's
thing
not.
up.
It's not a
Yeah.
either or. It's an
No.
and some.
I
right?
think there's got to
Yeah.
be like an air compressor system installed.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I like it.
You like the one in the back?
I like it.
Yeah, but all that stuff's just going towards your taint and your,
I bet
the
that
back
feels good.
grundle.
I'm kind of excited about.
But the water's okay.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm just telling you, wet wipe, then use toilet paper. You're good to go.
You can't.
If you don't-
you can't flush wet wipes.
Yeah, you can.
can.
They got flushable wipes.
Cottonelle.
So are you familiar with all this?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking.
I
you.
just
Dude.
use toilet paper like a regular fucking human being.
Yeah, and guess what else you
No,
have?
I'm
Like
not-
most
I'm not-
normal
I'm not-
human
it's
beings,
not like a
the
human
itchiest
being.
asshole
It's like
of
a
all
man.
time.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm not trying to redo 90 years of history, right? I appreciate the Frontiers people who wipe their ass with the Sears Roebuck catalog.
Yeah,
and
well,
I'm not
how
gonna
many times?
disrespect them by,
How many times you
know.
got to sneak an itch into that crack? Because you're like, man, my
Why am I sneaking?
butt's on.
I'm a grown man. I don't reach back there and scratch my ass. I don't. I will ask somebody to do it for me. Honey, get that
You'd
for me.
probably
I'll
ask
hold it.
Chloe. I've
Hey
seen
Chris,
his
I'll
hands.
bet you can't put your hand down my pants.
Damn it! You know not to bet me things. Listen, I'm
circle.
just saying.
Exactly.
Don't knock it until you try it, because it's like, oh, you have no clue, and then it changes your life, and then you're never the same.
That's what I'm. See, I don't want to be changed.
I'm afraid of that change.
Yeah, that's what. That's the whole problem we were talking about at the beginning.
I'm okay with being the
Yep.
same.
See,
I
We're
like
afraid of
me.
the
you're
change.
you're
I like
you're
me.
the reason.
I am.
I'm comfortable with who I am.
That's right.
Ask your wives if they're comfortable with who you are.
It doesn't matter.
They're like,
I really
the
don't
fact that we have to
care.
get new underwear every 3 weeks is a problem.
Yeah. All right. She's not calling in, is she?
I mean, you don't have.
And Chloe's like, actually, because we could.
gotta see if you know this voice.
This is a voice from your present.
Caller number 1, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm sick and tired of cleaning those shitty underwear.
I don't understand why these things look like thongs.
Oh
It says
my
it doesn't
gosh.
wear them.
$400 a month on Balcones whiskey when we all know it tastes the same as another shit.
So what was the first instrument that you got into?
I guess guitar, really. And I'm not good at it. I keep telling the guys in the band, I'm good enough to write. And if
So you're just the looks.
yeah. Hence the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's called Captain BSer.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with
Yeah.
the title.
I keep trying to get the guys to bring in another guitar player, but they're.
You're
anyway.
like, guys, can I just stand up here with the tambourine and look cool?
I can do all that David Lee Roth stuff. Man, you want to see a guy my size do herkies and spin the thing? Knock my shit off.
I do.
It'd be a
I do want
novelty
to see
act.
that.
Yeah,
I
see?
do want to see that.
See? I'll do it
Saturday,
I'll do it Saturday.
June 6th.
Are we
Yeah.
going to be able to make requests? I mean, I'd like to see some covers of some of the bands that we have referenced here. Any 80s?
How much winger shit are we going to
Hair
have
metal
to
bands.
learn between now and then to be able to fulfill his request?
I'll tell you what's funny is we have a brand new drummer, and Chloe texted me and said, "Hey man, do you guys want to?" In fact, the very first thing he did with us was the podcast, and
Oh, really?
He had the lyrics pinned up on a wall next to him, and he was doing the shaker. But now he's gonna have to play. And Chloe's like, "You want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then I was like, "Oh shit!" So I texted her, and man, this dude's so solid. He like right away he popped back. He's like, "I'm in." So he's a great dude, though.
all
He's
right.
You're like, bro, I wasn't asking you.
a pro.
All you got to do is keep the rhythm. Come on now.
Right. I mean, we're not
I was a drummer, so
we're
I
not
get it.
Yes or Rush. We're
Yeah.
not playing anything in
Good Lord, Rush. Oh my gosh.
16, 18 time or anything.
Oh, when you have to step into your set and then they close it in around you and you're like, here we go.
Yeah. You got a
nothing
seatbelt
like that.
on.
Now, I don't know why I just thought of this. We had some friends over with their children. You were there for a little while, and they had their like pack and play, but now they come in kind of like an octagon. Have you seen these things?
Yep.
This is amazing.
You
do
just let the
like
kids fight.
you can do baby fights.
Right?
That's phenomenal.
Man.
They can't get out,
As long as they're not dogs, you'll be fine.
or roosters.
Oh yeah, you can't be whipping
Can't
your
be
cocks out
cockfighting.
with kids around.
I knew it wouldn't take us long to get to dicks again.
We know you like it. That's why we keep bringing it up.
No,
It's
I
fun
think it's
to
more
say 'em.
about you. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Just own it. It's okay.
It is okay,
It is okay.
I think we're missing out on a fortune not having a baby fights.
right?
Remember like bum fights used to be on.
Oh, that's still a thing. World Star?
Really?
Really?
Really, I had no idea.
Oh, I'm sure that's still a thing. The problem was, well, and it probably still is that way. They were paying these people like, oh, hey, I'll
Right,
give you
yeah.
$100 and you $100, and whoever wins is going to get another $100. You two just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it was.
What happened to the good old days?
Yeah, I don't know. I like that.
Classic
back when
internet.
Back when the
still
internet
available.
was cool.
Yep.
Classic internet.
Probably on RedTube. Whatever the other tubes were, there were so many
Rotten.
different ones. Yeah.
Rotten was kind of the go-to there for a while. Yeah.
Whatever it was, there's just so many different ones, and then YouTube came along and was like, we got this. YouTube used to be the weirdest, like just random people trying to post up because it's like, oh hey, I'll throw again, Jason throwing up a friggin' dressed up as Batman. I'm Korean Batman. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm kind of famous in Korea. I was Batman. I had a video go kind of semi-viral. I'm like, what? Super random. That was in the OG YouTube. That's before we've shifted to what we're at.
So as
Before
you
we became corporate sellouts.
Yeah.
So when you were going through doing all your touring and so forth, like, was MySpace a big thing for you, or were you guys kind of a little bit above that line?
No, we were pre MySpace. So I mean, that was probably going on right there because this would be right in that 9/11 hump, 2000, 2001, 2002. So we just missed social media. But yeah, that was it all happened so damn fast, right? I mean, it was like, whoa, we're just all
And they were awesome too, because I mean, this was back when I was booking the Taste of Dallas, and they came and played Taste of Dallas. We had Robert Randolph and the Family Band. We had G Love and Special Sauce.
Vallejo.
Yeah, we had a whole bunch of really good bands come out, and they were killing it, man. It was.
What was the name of the group?
60-Foot Sammy.
60-Foot Sammy.
Is that like a 60-foot sandwich?
No, we stole our name from that statue of Sam Houston in Huntsville.
Huh. I was definitely going the sandwich angle as well.
I know, I'm like a 60-foot Sammy. Like, we're more than you can handle is kind of what he was trying to say.
So,
Subconsciously.
These numbers are following me around. I had 60 feet, and I got half and nothing.
Yep.
I don't know.
There's always got to be some measurement in there.
So
Right.
where did Half of Nothing come from?
It's a
seeing a
lyric
trend
in
here.
a lyric in a Black Crowes song.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So we lifted it. I think we'd gone through a bunch of really shitty names. I mean, we've settled on a shitty name, but it's our shitty.
But it's
names.
unique enough.
That's right.
Well,
That's
I mean,
right.
that's how
And
most
it's my
bands
shitty
come
name,
along.
so I agree. But no, I like the name. If the guys hear this, they're gonna be like, God, he's always running down the name.
What's one of the worst band names you've ever heard?
Oh shit, man.
Yeah, throw them
Hadn't heard
under.
of that
Throw
one.
them under the
They
bus.
might be giants.
The shittiest band names, man. I don't know. You know what? All band names taken out of context are pretty shitty.
So let's do it that way. We could tag them and start a little bit of a
Yeah.
war.
Anybody got any?
We go toe to toe with. I always thought Deep Blue Something was a stupid ass name.
What about stupid ass names of great bands? Tool?
I mean, that's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Is it? If you're a Tool,
Yeah, but the fact that they're awesome is the
Well,
fact
I
that makes
know.
it cool.
I know they defeated the whole.
I mean, Nickelback is sort of the
Yeah.
name, the music. And I
Yeah.
grew up in the age where they were popular and you like them. So I'm that weird era where it was like they were cool. So
Limp Bizkit that's probably not a great name. I don't know.
spelled with a Z. Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't even think of anything.
Dave Matthews Band. How original.
What
I
are
know-
you, an
I know
accountant?
there was a band named Five, and it started with the number 5 and then IVE.
Five-Finger Death Punch or something like that.
Ben
Great
Folds
band.
Five?
Five Finger Death Punch. When they first came out, I thought they were going to be something, but
I don't know, man.
they got swept up into that Fozzy
Yeah.
Octane.
I was about to say they kind of just figured that direction. They've stayed that. They've
Yeah.
never really.
But I thought
Blind Melon,
Blind Melon. Yeah, that one's rough.
Real
Yeah.
Big Fish.
I-
Who I do like
So,
a lot.
I was gonna say the
actually.
problem with Real Big Fish is that songs sell out. I think every musician loves that fucking song. That's a great song. So,
a little better than she's got a girlfriend now.
yeah. Although it's kind of cool too.
It is.
Speaking of Really Big Fish.
So have you ever karaoke'd?
Sure.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Sweet Caroline.
Of course.
Yeah.
See, you're a part of the problem.
The thing is, you really if you're gonna karaoke right, you gotta
Want to get everyone involved. I get
right.
it.
Well, no, first you blend in and you do stuff that people don't hear all the time. Like, oh fuck, I remember liking that song. A really good one to do is Raspberry Beret. Because it's Prince, but not everybody's down with it. Like, I used to
they
love
know
that
the
song.
chorus. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and then you just keep weaning them your way, and by the end, everybody's drunk. You hit the Sweet Caroline. You tell everybody before you get up there, hey, you got to do the bop bop bop, right? And everybody's all geeked up.
I was about to say you're getting crowd participation, so I get it. I get the angle. I get the angle for
Mama
sure.
Said "Knock You Out's another real good.
That's a fantastic one.
Karaoke.
I already know Scott doesn't have one. There's
no
way.
Last time Chloe
Mama
and I
Said Knock You Out.
Last time Chloe and I went karaokeing, I did OPP.
Yeah.
Mama Said Knock You Out was the first cassette I ever owned.
Wow.
Dude, Chloe.
Just makes me feel.
I
old.
know. I could literally feel my bones cracking.
Damn.
Don't worry, I'm getting there. I'm almost there with you guys.
The first cassette.
Was it a single?
The first
Cocktail
The first
soundtrack.
cassette that I bought was Glass Houses by Billy Joel.
Ooh.
I can't even remember.
Scott, I'm gonna guess that you don't have a go-to
Matter of
karaoke
trust.
song.
I don't karaoke.
No one's surprised.
I don't karaoke.
I'm not surprised.
It's not my scene. I'm not into it. So my problem is
Karaoke.
I recognize songs. I know the ones I like. I cannot tell you who sang them. I cannot tell you the lyrics most of the time. I either like the rhythm or I don't.
That's pretty much you on
And that's
almost all
it.
things.
That's me in a
your life.
nutshell.
Yep. If you want to know anything about Scott, that's basically him. When it comes down to anything, it's like
Like-
I sort of know about that ish.
Like when I was growing up, it was, when I got into music, I guess it was late 90s, early 2000s. I was very into ska.
Okay.
Like I love, because I was a band kid, so I love the fact that they had brass instruments and just everything kind of came together and it was just kind of fun, energizing music. I still listen to it.
What was the
And it's
other big Scott?
Mighty Boss Tones,
Yep.
man.
What didn't
For sure.
No Doubt start off as a ska band?
I think so.
A little bit, probably. I'm sure they had some of that. And then, the machine changed them.
Goldfinger.
By the way, my go-to karaoke song to start with is
Nobody
Ice
asked
Ice
you.
Baby.
Nobody asked you.
I'm
That's a
aware
That's a good one.
a non-shitty guest, host would, eventually kick questions back. But again, I get it. As master bullshitter of your band, I'm the same person here
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
If I don't ask me my own questions, they won't get asked. So
I owe you 15.
Can
for,
you?
how I was
Do you
thinking.
do you ever just talk your lyrics? You just get up there and say them like a masterpiece theater style. Hey,
no,
stop.
but that would be like
Oh,
just like
like a-
slam poetry.
Yeah, collaborate. Listen.
Ice is back with a
With a
brand new. No, so I told you about Chet that was supposed to be on Support Local, but had that.
Yeah.
So Chet Stevens, who was supposed to come on Support Local with us, he's a great local artist. How I actually met him was at a pizza shop in Plano with some friends of ours, and he was playing, and I was like, damn, this guy's good. Like,
Urban Crust.
yeah, he's just jamming on his acoustic and doing all this, and he was like, what do you guys want me to play? Like, he was taking some requests, and I was like, Ice Ice Baby. And he goes, I don't know the lyrics. And he was like, come do it. So me and my wife went over there, and we did it. And then I mic dropped, which is not what you would want to do to anyone's equipment ever. And because of the cord, it never hit the ground. It was just swinging like this. And he looked at me, he's like, that fucking guy. I'm sure still to this day if I brought that up, he's like, you're that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy. Sorry. I
So,
had to do it.
so when he's asking for a request, Winger and Vanilla Ice.
Got it.
Just be prepared.
You don't have to do Winger. Anything 80s. I should just request Slaughter, actually.
I'm a soul
I should
guy.
just make you go real high.
Marvin Gaye, Al Green.
I'll Never Let
Here
You
it
Go
goes.
by Slaughter. Let's see how high you can take that range.
That's not Slaughter. Never Let You Go is Steelheart.
Nope. No. Sorry. Yes.
You're thinking of Fly to the Angels.
I'm thinking Fly to the Angels, yes. But Steelheart, yep, another one. I always love people that could do that. My
I
dad was
like
like,
him.
My dad was like, "You've never seen?" Oh, sorry, I mixed up two bands. Would you like me to? Would you like me to? No.
Hey,
Chloe, we can
call
have a
him-
quiz later and see if the youngin of the
I am-
show
I am
that's so
renaming-
much younger.
No, shit.
Let's see who wins that shit.
We're renaming the band Joe Mack and the Fact Checkers. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. It's official.
There you go. Fact checkers.
As soon as you did that, I'm like, "Fuck, that's right." And I remember my dad being like, "Oh, because I like, the guys that could take it like that." And he goes, "Oh, listen to this guy," and I'm like, he can't get any higher than that. And then later he goes even higher, and you're like, yeah, and you're like, whoa, okay.
Man, there was a time where I could legit do that stuff, but I can't. I can't
Me
do it
too.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say when you would sing along with the stuff, and you're like, you do that, then yeah, my dad's like, I can't do that anymore.
And
And I'm
don't
like, I still can, and then you lose it, and you're like, I can't do that.
Don't let Cloe's recent musical snobbiness fool you. I mean, this is a dude where he had Bang Tango.
Bang Tango.
had
That
the-
sounds like a porno,
He
not
had
a
the
band.
Bullet Boys. Yeah, I'll call you out, dude. I remember your box of cassettes.
Is it
Tora,
sort of
Tora?
eclectic?
Tora, yeah.
An eclectic mix. I'm the same way.
It's not
It could go
eclectic.
from-
It's just literally the dying embers of hair metal.
Oh,
He just-
absolutely, 100%.
I mean, Chris had a knot in the rope. He's holding on. He's
No, we can't leave. I got to grab a girl's ass. We can't leave here.
These grunge girls are gross.
But I got into grunge too. But I also listened to like hip hop and rap and.
Yeah,
But the
I'm the
girls,
same
were,
way.
the girls were way hotter.
it's a whole mix.
But the only thing that I had really going for me in high school is
They
that
could dance.
I could dance.
Dude, I was literally just talking
Really?
about this with my kids. That Uncle Chris, like I would always bring him. We went to rival high schools, and we both played ball,
Yeah.
and nobody liked Chloe. And but I would bring him. He'd start dancing. All the girls would come over because I mean they're like legit break dance.
Then they
dance.
really
It was
didn't
so
like
good.
them
Oh,
after took all the girls
so
away.
good.
Yep.
So you could break dance.
Yeah,
I could.
you could pop and lock, and you could do that thing where you go down the splits and come back up.
Oh, this I gotta see.
He's like,
You
I ain't
can't do
doing it now.
Shit,
You could try.
he's more machine now than man.
Machine.
And that's not happening. I can find video. Maybe he's like, I don't know.
Right? Of his big baggy.
I hurt
MC Hammer
myself.
pants. I can't help it.
Wait, was he? Well, let's see. What year were you guys in high school? Early '90s.
Yeah.
90,
88.
89,
I got there in 88.
Yeah.
Okay.
Giggles. I know
Yeah,
I
because I was born.
tell my wife is from a little bitty town, but it's between here and where my grandparents lived. And I was like, you ever think about like when I was 21 driving home from college to visit my grandparents, I might have passed you on the playground when you were 9.
What's up, girl?
Hey.
Want some candy?
See, back then it's weird. Now it's fine.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You just got to wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll take the
Patience.
candy. They'll take the candy at a later date.
They sure
Patience.
will. You just got to get something that doesn't spoil.
That's right. Gummy bears.
Listen, I think that's the important note
Devil dogs.
to end on before we go too long. I'm
Twinkies.
assuming we're about right.
Oh yeah, we're over.
All right,
107.
Joe, tell them where to find your band, where to find you, and where they can come watch you on Saturday. Saturday.
Saturday. We're playing with somebody. Who else is playing?
Yeah, if you don't.
Cameron Havens.
There we go. Cameron.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're at the North Side Draft House. You'll have to look that up.
Richardson, Texas,
Yeah.
Energy Park Boulevard.
So we're super duper excited. Thank you guys for having me on. It was fun.
Thanks for
fun.
coming on.
We had a blast.
Appreciate you
We got
coming.
real serious, and then we just said, nope, can't handle this for much longer than about 30 minutes.
That's right. That's right. Rails are off. So yeah, but look us up. Social media. We're on all the particulars. Joe Mack and Half and Nothing.
All right, Scotty.
Sweet. Yeah.
Let's
I
see
know
what
what you were
Scott's
gonna
got.
say.
Uh-huh.
I got nothing, of course. Saturday, June 6th, Northside Draft House. Support local Texas. Make sure you're there. We got Cameron Havens. We got Joe Mack and Half of Nothing. We're going to have food specials, beer specials, swag, fundraiser, the whole nine. Bring your dog, bring your kids. It's a family-friendly
Family-friendly, yeah.
event.
Oh,
And
good to know.
And we're gonna be
Mention
live.
Some of the lyrics.
And we're going to be live, so
well, we're going to be maturing the audience rapidly.
Okay. There
So
we go.
just roll with it. If you can't handle it, don't come.
or do.
Laura and her bourgeois friends can't handle it. Fuck it. Let them riot.
That's right.
And we're going to get Scott some of these special jeans, so keep an eye out
I'll
for
be
that.
looking for you. I'll be looking for you, Chris.
Cloe Palm jeans coming this summer to Lululemon. The most comfortable jeans you've ever been finger raped. in.
Oh.
Is that the ender?
Yeah,
I gotta
think
let you
that's
go.
it.
Nope.
No, I'm not saying. Say your message, Brandon.
I'm Dr. Brandon Brown, and I approve everything that we just talked about except for that message.
Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe. YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere else you could find us.
TikTok.
Tick, 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 tock.